All right, welcome to the Furlough Podcast. It's a great Friday night. We're getting some time in. What a great day we had. Before we get started, I want to let everybody know this show is brought to you by the great people at All American Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep. Without them, it'd be even tougher. So we have to send out a lot of appreciation to those guys.
Yep, no doubt.
So today we had a great chance to help a fellow friend do some acting and some recording. And as you know, Dave, you got to witness it just along with me. Is you don't realize what you look like on camera, how you act. Sort of like when we started doing this, and you hear your voice and things that you say. Maybe you have nuances that you didn't, or ticks you didn't realize you had until you started seeing them. And it was a great experience. It was a great experience for me. I mean, it was something I've never done before, and to see myself move and the smirks on my face when people make me laugh, and trying to remember a line off the fly. You know what I'm saying? Had zero time, next to no prep time for this, and it's like, can you do it? And I was had to say I was kind of impressed. I couldn't believe it wasn't a lot of lines, but I was impressed that I could memorize that number of lines in just an hour or so.
Well, and I'll be honest with you. So I was impressed. I have to admit that you are more of a natural than I was anticipating. You look very good, very natural. Me, on the other hand, I've always had a certain amount of self confidence. I've never really lacked that. And so, for anybody out there with a lot of self confidence, if you want to be knocked down, watch yourself on video, and you realize what a what a dork you are. Because that's really kind of how I came out of this whole thing. As I was watching myself, and I thought, Jesus, is that really? I look like that. I sound like that. I move like that.
But you know what's funny though is people like you for who you are.
Yeah.
And I've got friends, you got friends, we're friends. And when I saw the playbacks, that's my buddy Dave. That's
Yeah.
Dave. And as critical as we are, it's like when we first started doing the podcast and you hear yourself, and I was like, man, my voice is horrible,
Mhm.
and I cannot believe I use that much profanity. I can't believe I do this, but I was the same way looking at the videos. Today, they were playing back, and I was like, what a doofus.
Yeah, well, the same thing when I watched myself back doing my comedy shows. It was the same thing. I was very hard on myself.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand.
But I recommend anybody to take a minute, set a phone up, record yourself doing whatever it is, and you'll be shocked at how you see yourself. It's very eye opening for sure.
And a little humbling, if you
Oh,
will.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
believe me.
it's like, I shouldn't walk like that. I shouldn't move like that.
Yeah.
But I will say, let's brag on myself for a little bit. There was a couple things I did. I was like, damn, man, I look pretty good doing that. I was like,
Ah.
it was things that I do a lot of, athletic wise. And, not to, I don't want to give away too much because it was helping a friend. I don't want anybody to know until it's time to let them know. But it's things I've done a lot of, and so I was like, damn, I look pretty natural at that. And I guess if you do something 1,000 times, you should.
But it wasn't even just that. I thought the audio portion, the way you delivered the lines, everything. I mean, it went really well. So
Oh, it was so much fun.
yeah.
It was more fun than I thought it would be. Because I've
Kind of getting that bug, huh?
I don't know. I'm gonna reserve saying that I've gotten the bug because anybody can do something and it go well one time, and you're not really. I wasn't going through the rejection role. I hadn't have anybody going, stop, that's terrible.
Right.
But I don't know. But you got to get to that point too to see if you really have the bug.
Yeah, well, and I'll say this that I guess once you get a good taste of it, it's probably tough to let it go. Kind of like me with comedy.
Right.
I got a good taste of it. I got a new job now where I'm working crazy hours and doing some things, so I don't have the freedom I once had. But I'm starting to get that itch again.
Right, right.
And I'm looking to get back into it.
Well, maybe if things work itself out, maybe you will have that freedom, to do some more stuff in the evenings or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I will. But I think that's kind of where it may happen with you. That now that you got a taste of it, it's
Well, if somebody that's in the biz looks at it, and that's where a lot of this stuff is going for anybody's, is to help somebody else. But if somebody in the biz gets it and they call me and say, "Hey, man, you did a pretty good job," I could see that would give me a big bite. That would be like, oh my God, somebody that's in the biz really liked, you know, what I did. So I guess it's a booster of morale, situation where it make you want to do it. Now, I don't think I'd be heartbroken if they say, "Hey, man, I don't think you got," because I never chased after anything like that.
Mm.
But
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 it's having someone that has been there and they show confidence in you. That's always a big boost.
oh yeah, God, I'll be like I said, if they call back and say, "Oh man, that was great. We were looking at some stuff you did with so and so. That was
Oh, the hook
good."
will be set.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be like a little puppy over there going,
And that's what happened with me,
yeah,
on the comedy side.
yeah,
I was very hesitant. Y'all know that. I mean, and I was scared to death to get on that stage for the first time, and it was 20 people, maybe,
yeah,
and I was sick to my stomach to get up there. And hell, half the people I knew before that night. So, but once you have somebody that's been through it, that confidence, I think you're really I look forward to really seeing where this whole thing goes.
it'll be very interesting. Even if they want me to help out with a bit part or do whatever, I just think that if nothing else, the experience, the life experience, you've said many times over, you get out and just do shit,
Mhm.
and it's just for the story, if nothing else. It's
Yeah.
not about making money. It's not about trying to do something to change your life completely. But it's like you meeting Miranda.
Mhm.
You met her, who was a great asset to the show. She came on. Everybody knows that was a great show, and we still have contact with her. But if you wouldn't have got the balls to go off and do this, just I'm going to this fucking paranormal thing, which is not your norm. We would have never met her. And
But
so,
it's just those life experiences. And I'll tell you, as I get older, I have found myself saying no to opportunities less and less,
absolutely,
I'm more open to try new things. Not to put myself in danger or not to go down any wild sexual road,
yeah,
of things that would compromise my morals,
right.
but just opportunities and things in life. I mean, why not? Whatever it is,
Yeah,
try it.
yeah. The worst thing we could do, and we did some of that this afternoon, was laugh at each other.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my God, there we had the best laughs at each other. We were reviewing some tape, and I don't know, would you call it tape now? What would you call it? Call
Yeah.
it video. We're reviewing video, and and anybody, it was an equal opportunity laugh. Anybody that screwed up, we just laughed and laughed at each other, and it was a lot of fun. It
It
kind
was
of
fun.
reminded me of being 14 again. You know what I'm saying? Where your buddies there, and you just and the guy falls down trying to jump something on his little bicycle,
Uh-huh.
and you just sitting there and laugh at each other. Or you say, "Hey, go hit on that girl," and you just watch him crash and burn, and
Yeah.
and they walk back laughing just as hard as you're laughing because
And we all had our turns of rejection this afternoon for sure as we laughed at each other.
oh yes,
You
God,
know?
but it was so much fun, and
Yeah.
it's. I think that we talk about that sometimes too. Is not taking yourself so seriously is such an important thing sometimes.
Sure.
You know.
And I think that's all part of trying new things in life in general. And it goes back to like what I said. Just say yes to more opportunities than you do no. And I think and who cares if it doesn't work out? You tried it, you had that experience, and you probably will even walk away with some contacts.
Oh yeah, or self confidence to do something else.
Absolutely.
It's like that may be completely different.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
one thing leads to another. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that so many people are afraid of change.
Hmm.
People are scared to death of change, and I've got family members that they're like, "Well, I do this because this is what I do," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you're qualified to do something else. Why don't you go do it?" Well, and it just amazes me that so many people won't do something just because either they're scared or somebody else has told them they couldn't. I talked to my son. He said something one time, and I mean, what it was, I won't go deep into that, but I was like, who are they?
Right. Well, I mean, but you remember the story I told you? You called me. I don't even remember. We were talking on the phone during the week, and I was telling you how I was training my guys at my previous job and how they'd be so nervous, so scared to do anything. And I said, take a look around at the people that are already doing what it is you're so afraid to do. And these people are no smarter, no better. Most of these people are, you'd look at them on the street and you'd be like, man, this guy's really don't have a whole lot going on. But yet you can't do what they're doing on a professional level. I mean, it's silly.
Yeah, it just blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on that note, I look pretty ridiculous a couple times a day. It was pretty
We all did. We all did. I did for sure.
So, the facial expressions, there was a facial expression. God, once all this comes out, I'm gonna
we're almost talking in code, but when we can really get it out, we're gonna get it out.
Get it out. There's some clips that we have of Dave, and there's a look on Dave's face. He's looking at this guy, and he had the look on his face like, "Are you fucking serious? We're gonna do another take?" Because this guy was he wanted. God bless him. He wanted to do the best take, and that's what you want to do. But he had done multiple takes, and the look on Dave's face, like, "Are you fucking serious?" And he's like, "God, just one more." Yeah. And so we got to laugh and that video, and he laughed too. He saw, because the look on his face when the video ended and the look on your face, both of them was classic. Dave just, that's like, you motherfucker.
Because I was on the receiving end, man, of what was going on. So, but no, it was a good time for sure.
Oh, it was so much fun.
I can't wait for us to kind of really pull back the curtain and tell everybody, what it is that's going on.
Oh yeah, but other than that, man, I mean, other than jumping out there and doing wild stuff, what else do you got going on?
Nothing, like I said. So I started a new job not long ago, in the oil industry, which I really didn't know anything about. So I mean, that was pretty exciting getting into that. And I know people may think that with all the money we got coming in from the podcast, these guys don't even have a day job, but we do. We both do have day jobs.
Gotta have a day job.
Sure, and this is something we do for fun right now. But no, it's been exciting. A new adventure again. For myself, this is an industry I really didn't know anything about prior to stepping in a few weeks ago. So that's been going well. But I will tell you, so I was actually talking to a younger guy. It was, man, I feel like I haven't done a podcast, a real one with you for a couple of weeks, it feels like.
At least, yeah.
So I was talking to a young guy. I'm not going to reveal too much, but he was telling me about his girlfriend and how they were both virgins and they had sex, for the first time not long ago.
Really?
Yeah, and he was recapping that to me, and it got me thinking about my very first time, and I don't know if you remember yours or how it went.
Mine.
Yeah, but mine, it was just so bizarre, my whole thing, because, and I hope I haven't told this story before, but she was a really good looking girl. So I was dating her in high school, and I was 16, 17, and this was back in the 80s, back when it was fashionable to have a flat butt. Back then, everyone just had, the high-waisted jeans, the long back,
and they're
the
coming
flat
back, and I hate that shit.
I'm with you. I hate that too.
I hate that high-waisted shit.
But this girl did not have a flat butt. She was one of the few girls that had a really nice, round, Italian little butt on her, and she was super 80s, with the big hair and all that. And and I'll never forget, we went to her brother's house, who owned a local theater, and it was an old porn theater that he had converted and made into like a family theater.
Oh,
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, see, I always thought people convert them the opposite way, because you don't want to take a family into what was once a porn theater. But so he had converted it, and so every night he was running the theater, and so we would go over to his house, and we'd just have wild sex over there. And I remember it's so funny now, because I think back, when you're young and young love, sometimes your love can be a little corny. So she would put on, I swear to God, she'd put on Air Supply and play Air Supply.
Nice.
And we would rock it out. And she had her big hair and her 80s lingerie. And we would have very rookie sex there on the
like,
living room.
I'm glad you said rookie second. If you were going to say some just hardcore whatever,
No,
you don't have hardcore.
No, it was not hardcore. So, but what the thing that made it so funny is the fact that a couple weeks after my first time, her and I were talking about it, and I told her that it was my first time,
Oh wow!
and she was surprised. She had no idea, and I go, well, it wasn't your first time. And she goes, oh no, of course not. And I was like, what do you mean, of course not? And yeah, and I know I've told you off air, but a buddy of mine actually called me for the 10-year reunion, and it was at that time that he told me that everybody was running. She didn't have a screen on her bedroom window.
Oh yeah. I think you mentioned this in the past, where everybody was just.
Yeah, that was a steady stream of teenage boys going in there. So, and I said, well, why would you even tell me this story? I mean, hell, 10 years later, But we laughed about it. But you think about your first love, your young love, and all that. But that kid, when we were talking about it, it just brought it all back.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have that little glossy look in his eye where he's just like happy about that he made that next corner? Next step.
He was absolutely in their world. And I hope they are, but in their world, they're going to be together forever. There's never been a more pure, true love in the history of mankind.
I wasn't even close to that.
Yeah. Well, little does he know, he'll probably run through, a dozen, 2 dozen, women.
I was treated like a fast food stop.
Wow. What were you, a 40-year-old woman?
No, she was 18.
And you were
13.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. It was in a tent. I didn't know what I was doing the first time, but that second or third round, I was starting to figure some stuff out.
Would you find her in the woods?
No.
What were you doing in a tent?
Well, some people went camping. Yeah.
Some friends? Were you in a Boy Scouts?
No, Boy Scouts. No.
I was a weeblo. I don't know if I told you. And I'm not even comfortable saying that word, weeblo.
Weeblo. No, it was, people used to hang out in the woods and do stuff like that, and it was just one of those things, man. Tent was there.
Bing, bang.
Yeah, she was going to make a man out of me.
Good for you.
Never saw her years later, but she moved on with her life and all that good stuff. No, it was a friend of a friend.
Huh. Yeah. We should find her and bring her on the podcast. Wouldn't that be awesome?
She'd probably destroy my memory of what she like I said, third round I was I was doing what was supposed to be done, but she was probably yawning.
I would like to hear her version of that. Right. I'm sure a 13-year-old was really giving it to her. I'm sure.
She's like, I'm sure it was. It was a mercy killing for her. For
no doubt. So she initiated that.
Yeah. Well, I think so. Yeah. The rumor has it was somebody else kind of wedged her into it for me.
Huh. That's wild, man.
Hooked the poor kid up.
13. I wasn't even. I'm telling you, man. I was such a late bloomer. I wasn't even thinking about that.
13 and then a huge dry spell. It's an ego killer for a 13-year-old.
Oh, so from 13 to like 22?
No. Not quite that far, but you got to remember, when you were 13, 14 years old, how long a year felt like?
Oh, time creeped by. Yeah.
Oh, so I was staring out the world going, what happened? That's like getting that, getting that taste of sugar that first time and then no more sugar in the house.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, every time your father would drive you by a forest, you were peeking, looking to see if there was a tent.
Every time you walk in Walmart and you go by the tent section, and you start having memories.
Yeah, and just look, I've been camping a lot, and I've never come across just a stray woman that wanted to pull me in. Jeez.
No, this wasn't a stray, but she was brought by. Yeah, she was 18. They told me she was 18.
You remember her name?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. I was going to do a little research, and I was going to try and drag her in
name. It was, but it was, it was just one of those things. She was like, she's probably damn dead on drugs by now. Who knows? Just one of
that's
those.
a positive outlook.
Well, you got to think if she's 5 years older than a 13, she's.
Yeah, she can't possibly be alive or have had a prosperous life. Right.
She might have been a real piece of work.
People change, man.
That is true. That is true. We see it all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took a while. But
So listen, I'll say this. So I know that. So we do a lot of talking, a lot of prep off air, and I told you, and I'm not going to say it yet because it's not set in stone. But we do have a guest. I'm working on getting in that people have been clamoring for. So
It's been a long time since I've been this excited.
yeah,
I cannot. If it works out, it'll really tie some shows together,
yeah.
and it will be the greatest.
Well, I keep my phone here. I've checked my email. I couldn't tell you how many times, and I am waiting desperately to get a response. So I've reached out. So if you follow the shows and you've listened, there have been talk of another person that has been a rock star behind the scenes that people have been dying for us to get in, ask questions, know about, and just kind of hear their story and their side of things and kind of get some clarification on some things. And I am working desperately on getting this guy in, and I cannot wait to make the announcement.
I'm going to try, and I will look straight into the camera for this. I'm going to work my hardest not to fanboy out on Dave and ask more questions than I need because I will be on a roll, and it's going to be very difficult. You may even have to see me and Dave holding hands, and we have to do a little squeeze to each other's turn because I'm telling you, my list of questions, I don't even need show prep. My list of questions are already up here, just Rolodexed up.
Well, we all have questions, and even people that I talk to out in the world all have questions about this guy and for this guy. And I'm going to tell you, this guy is gonna blow us up if we can get him in.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. He'll
because
be.
his stories, his experience is so wild and so unbelievable that when we get him in and we set him down in this chair, I just can't wait.
And on that note, and I can go ahead and blow this out there. As everybody knows, Amber was on the show last week. Amber always does a great job. She always brings it. Had a good time. We have another young lady that hopefully is going to start coming on the show sporadically, and I think she's going to bring some great content in. She's lived a very vivid life herself. She's been through. She's got some great stories, some great experiences, and if we can work it out, her and Amber can maybe do some stuff with just them and get a lady's perspective and talk about all that good stuff.
Sorry, I was gonna be funny and play. It didn't work out the way I wanted it. There we go. That's what I meant to play. Sorry about that.
So you might as well play the gunshots now.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. So I was gonna be funny and play kitty cats.
Little
So-
key. No, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
You just missed your mark.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's what we're doing. We're figuring this stuff out. And but yeah, so I think there'll be some good stuff. I got a lot of questions for her. And she's got a lot. I've talked to her obviously off air. She wants to bring a lot to the show, and I think it'll be a good time. It'll be a really good time. And
Well, I mean, I don't know her. This is a friend of yours. I don't know her like you do, but even I have some questions, and there's, I think we're going to have a great conversation when she makes it in here.
Oh yeah. And speaking of, are you going to the? Now you got a wedding to go to, right?
I have a wedding to go to tomorrow. Yes.
I was going to say we're going. We want to go to. There's Birmingham's actually got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
A lot of things, and so we're going to try to. Amber and I are going to try to get out and about. We got some guys that are competing in the grappling tournament here in Alabama tomorrow. It's put on by Gracie Baja, I think. I believe that's who's putting it on. I may be wrong about that. Hopefully I don't say that wrong. And so that's going to be a good one. We got the crawfish boils going on down at Uptown. We got the Cahaba barbecue thing.
Yeah.
I think that's where Amber and I want to go. So that's going on tomorrow.
They were setting up today, and then on Sunday, Little Savannah is having their own crawfish boil.
Little Savannah, I'm not sure.
That's a restaurant in Crestwood.
Oh, okay. I haven't been there.
Yep, check it out. I recommend it.
And they're
Great
having their
place.
own crawfish. What's the deal? Crawfish has been hot this past year.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was the hurricanes or whatever that's washing them up.
I have no idea, but it seems like everybody's doing a craw. I don't like crawfish.
I don't either. That's the thing.
but
I'm a shrimp guy.
I love the shrimp and I love the corn and the potatoes.
Yeah.
That's me.
No, I'm with you. I'm not a crawfish guy,
Yeah.
but I'll drink the hell out of some beer, you
There you
know.
go.
So, their barbecue over at Cahaba, crawfish. I didn't even know that they were having one at the other crawfish boil.
Yeah,
So,
uptown.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was unaware of that one. So,
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna
yeah.
be crazy. So maybe, I mean, you never know. I'll try to do some social media stuff out there if I get out and about. Amber gets out and about, so pick up on some people. But
Mhm.
man, I got so much running in my head. I really don't know. We didn't do a lot of show prep today, guys, just because we were doing all this acting stuff. It really took our day away. So hopefully we can build on that a little bit later. I highly look forward to playing some of those videos for everybody
Oh yeah.
and tagging them in the YouTubes. It's just going to be unreal.
Well, now that we have video, we're gonna get more and more video and more content out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're more mobile now, whereas before we were kind of locked and committed, to the studio.
Absolutely.
Now that we have the cameras set up, we can go wherever it is we need to go.
Yeah. So if anybody has any place they want us to go to, want us to do a remote from, email us, let us know, furloughpodcast@gmail.com. And then we'll try to figure it out.
Yep. Breweries, we're talking to you. So I'll be glad to promote your beer, drink your beer, So
Yeah.
hit us up for sure.
Absolutely.
Also, I'll tell you that just recently they just disbanded the football league that they had here.
I'm glad you brought that up. What was that all about?
Apparently, they just had some financial issues, and
They didn't make it a whole season.
well, they played their regular season, and then they
Okay.
pulled the plug. They made it
Okay,
to
they
the end.
didn't.
Yeah, I don't know how their preseason was supposed to go, but they didn't even make it to their postseason, so they didn't even make it to any of that. Birmingham had a pretty decent team. I just heard that I believe it was San Diego maybe picked up one of the quarterbacks from that
Oh,
spinoff
wow.
league.
So somebody actually got a shot out of the whole deal. Huh?
Yeah, so I mean they're already recruiting those guys and picking them up in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah, so there's no chance of a revival on that.
Yeah, that's.
And it was quite disappointing because I mean those are some good games. I thought.
Yeah, I didn't get to see any of them. I did like the Birmingham Iron. That sounded pretty good. So,
Yeah.
and they had some pretty good logos. I think.
Hmm.
I was looking forward to getting a few shirts and getting a few things to support Birmingham. But
Yeah.
it's like everything, man. They talk about putting a dome or putting a stadium here. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't know. It's not that I don't think Birmingham can support it. I just don't know. They would have to take a team. Another established team, another established NFL team would have to come here. It could not be something completely new if it's going to support it. I don't know which team that would be. I'm not a football expert, but it would have to be there's a couple of teams that the Rams moved a couple of times.
Well,
But-
they just
but they're
recently went
back.
to L.A. Yeah.
Yeah, they're back to LA. And so, but I mean, it would take something like that. It would take you'd have to have a pre fan base
Hmm.
to for it to work.
I would just be so surprised to see an NFL team, an established team, come to Birmingham because there's so many other larger markets that don't have an NFL team that could very easily get one.
True, but I think we have more land, and I think we have more. I think they have more diversity to build a good field if they wanted to. But
But to have the people to support it like they do in other big cities.
oh yeah,
And people get so fully erect over college football. That's all these people
oh
down here.
absolutely.
They're just not interested like they are in other cities
Oh yeah,
in NFL.
NFL. Yeah,
Yeah.
down here's college or nothing.
Yeah.
But what else would I say? Oh, the MLB was going to turn George Ward Park into. They were trying to buy George Ward Park right in Birmingham. They were going to turn it into a training facility, and they got so much push. They got huge pushback.
I never heard that.
Yeah, and just here recently, with like last couple months, that they backed out of it. They were going to take the whole park over and build an MLB training facility.
That's crazy.
And-
Why wouldn't And that's my point.
Birmingham lost their mind because that park's been there a long time, and they were saying, "Oh, that's where history, from play a lot of softball leagues and kickball leagues and this and that, and it's just taking away the greenery inside Birmingham and blah blah blah." But yeah, they pushed back hard, and MLB walked away from it.
Well, I'm sure there's tons of other cities that will gladly gobble them up.
Yeah.
Would love to have that there.
But my whole point was there's so many other places in Birmingham that they could buy up.
Well, but that should have been the responsibility of Birmingham to present them with that.
Right.
Not MLB.
Right.
Birmingham should have said, "Hey, listen, that park means a lot to the city. How about this over here? Is this an option? Is this an option?"
Right, because it's just a training facility. It wasn't a place to put on games.
Right, but it's a step in the right direction. You're going to have athletes come in, and it just generates more revenue.
Right. Well, everybody told them that Regents Park was going to be a flop. And holy crap, it was anything but a flop.
Oh, absolutely.
If it wasn't for Regents Field, Railroad Park wouldn't be there.
I remember, I'm telling you, man, I'll never forget it, sitting inside Good People Brewery years ago. And even Good People wasn't fully developed to where it is now. And I was sitting in the back. The bar used to be in the back. And I was sitting there talking to the bartender. And he goes, "Yeah, they're going to tear down the buildings across the street. They're going to build a baseball stadium there." And I go, "Man, I just can't even imagine it." I said, "It just looks so shitty. It's just so trashy there." And they go, "Well, we got this place with the hopes that they're going to follow through."
You're damn right they did.
And man, oh man, those guys
The
are
best business move they probably could have ever made.
Yeah. Yep.
I tell you a little bit of funny. The 1 degree of separation. Amber and I were renting a house before we bought this house, before Regents Park was built and finished, and we found a stone or a street marker in the bushes at this house. And back in the Great Depression, the federal government put forth a lot of different things to get people to work. Basically, federally funded just projects just to get people that are out of work a job. And so what happened was in Birmingham, they made the concrete markers to sit on the ground like street signs. And it's about 2 foot long, about 8 inches wide, and kind of up. It's got a little peak like a pyramid on the top. And when they make these molds, they change the numbers out and the street number and this and that. And they paint in black paint inside the letters, in the embossed letters, the street numbers, whatever. We found, almost in mint condition, I have it, I can show it to you out here, the corner of Railroad Park and Regents Field.
Come on.
I have it. And I showed it, I sent pictures of it to the Barons, and they asked them if they wanted it. And they said, "We would love to have it. We don't know what to do with it." And I sent a picture, the same picture, to the Historical Society in Birmingham, and they wanted it bad because they said they have never seen one that wasn't broken. And this one's in mint condition.
And now, where did you get it at?
It was in the bushes of a house we were renting, covered in leaves. Somebody was using it as a stepstone to get to the water spigot.
That is wild,
And
man.
because I reached when I was going back there to get water, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was down in the mud, way out of Birmingham, on the suburb of Birmingham, of all the places. And it is the very corner where you buy tickets, the corner of Railroad Park and Regents Field.
Oh, that would be badass if they could kind of clean that thing up a little bit.
Oh,
and hell, and put it outside on the corner.
Well, the guy said that he wouldn't want to put it outside in the corner because somebody'd steal it.
There's no way to anchor it.
No.
It's not. So originally they were never anchored down.
No, and that's why the people from the Historical Society said they'd never seen one that wasn't broke. Because they get turned over, and they're heavy.
Yeah.
But I can pick it up and walk off with it.
Yeah.
And so, and the guy, I couldn't believe the guy at the Barons didn't say, "Yeah, we would love to have that inside." You know what I'm saying? As a historical marker. But he was just ho-hum about it. He kind of blew me off about it. So I was like, "I'll just keep it. Fuck you then."
Yeah, he may not have been from Birmingham. He may not have understood
the significance. But yeah, I got it out. I got it. It's right outside. I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'll put it up on I'll put it up on Instagram as well, so
Yeah.
everybody can see. But I'm really I was thinking about keeping it. You know, say fuck, I'm just gonna keep it for a long time because it's just a connection to Region Field.
Hmm.
But now, yeah, I go back and forth, and I think, probably the best thing to do is give it to the historical society, just so that it is preserved and doesn't accidentally get fucked up or whatever.
Well, at the very least, give it to them, and then they can just have a plaque that says on loan from Chris Bolin and family.
Maybe so.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
See there.
So,
So it's
and
a
that's
win-win.
all. And that's all I wanted to do for the Barons is I just want them to just put it inside somewhere, and just take a picture, an old picture, maybe a like you can go back and Google Earth so far back,
Right.
from the 80s or something, way before the, some sort of aerial picture and crop it right where Regents Field is now, and say, this stone used to sit here from the 1920s to whatever.
Hmm.
And that's why the people at the historical site couldn't believe that it was in such great shape.
Oh, I think it's incredible. I've never even seen or heard of these things, but I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah, well, definitely. I'll show it to you after the podcast, and I'll put it up on Instagram. It's an interesting piece.
Well, I think after this show, you're probably going to it'll generate some attention, so you'll probably get some feedback. Hopefully, after
Yeah.
the show goes out.
So yeah, maybe we can talk. Maybe we can talk to Barons. I would love for it to be at Regents Field. That's just because it would just make sense. It would almost be like if it was at the corner of whatchamacallit Field.
What, Wrigley Field?
Not Wrigley, but Rickwood.
Mhm.
Like, I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
if
yeah.
it was at Rickwood, I'd be like, hey guys, come on, you need to put this somewhere in here for historical sake.
Sure,
And
sure.
so if Regions, even though Regions is new per se, that spot, to have something to anchor it way back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You're creating history now.
Huh.
Let's anchor it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So,
No, I think it's cool as hell.
yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll hit them back up. That was a couple of years ago. I tried to hit them up.
Yeah.
And Regents Field was not open very long, so maybe they were just overwhelmed with too much stuff going on.
Oh, it's possible, But there you go. Chris Bolin tied to,
Tied to Regents Field.
well, I was going to say tied to the history of the city.
There
But,
you go.
well, whatever.
Always, man. Well, you got to dig around the dirt sometimes,
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up, man. This is not going to be the greatest or the longest podcast, but it was one that we're working on. We're working on our videos. This will go up. You'll check us out on YouTube. Check us out on all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. And don't forget that this show is brought to you by All American Ford, Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge. I almost messed that up. If you guys are in need for a car, you need to go down and see John Makovica and all his staff. They're going to help you out, get you what you need. It's weather's warming up. Maybe he's got a Jeep down there. You can pull that top down, ride off, and enjoy that sun.
Drop that top down, throw your pup in the back, go grab yourself a beer at one of the local breweries. Maybe
Absolutely.
Get a little crawfish.
Absolutely.
Look, man, you tired of walking? Get yourself a Jeep.
That's
That's
right.
what I say.
Puppies love it.
Yeah, I got flat feet. I'm not walking nowhere. I'm gonna have to go see him. Trade my car in and get me a Jeep.
You need a Jeep, man. You and Dexter would work good in a Jeep.
Woo, woo. I've thought about it for a long
You
time.
need to go see John. I'm gonna put you. You and John haven't spent enough time together, man. He needs to put you on one.
You're probably right. You're probably right. And I tell you what, Nat, actually, I've had my heart set on a Jeep for a long time.
Oh, that's the man we need to.
Well, listen, anybody with a dog, you got to have a Jeep. You know what? That's the way they go
It
together.
makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It makes sense.
yeah. John, I'm coming to see you, buddy.
All right. All right, Ray. See you soon.